Good morning. Happy Sunday. Welcome to your early morning intuitive guidance. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum here with some words of wisdom and hopefully a little bit of humor today. And we'll see where we end up. We'll see what kind of conversation we can spark amongst ourselves, which would probably be helpful to me. I gotta put my foot up here. And hopefully to others. Yeah, got legs that are not happy with what all was done yesterday. Good morning, Joe Neal. Welcome. Glad you are here. I'm glad you're here because now you get to hear about the events on this side of the family. Good morning, Cindy. Glad you're here. Welcome, welcome. We'll give it a minute for everyone to pop in, and I'm going to grab a drink here. Good morning, Gwen. The heat is running probably it's less than 10 minutes, every 7 minutes perhaps. So it is dry in here. I had to find my little humidifier again and crank that baby up. So, hope you all had a wonderful Saturday. Mine was an endeavor in lesson learning. Yes, and in fact, to that end, we have Taking the War Out of Our Words, The Art of Powerful Non-Defensive Communication by Sharon Ellison, yet again today. So, a little backstory before I hit the book. Let's take another breath. There we go. Yesterday was the gathering of the family. The Western contingent had flown in. They had their own trials and tribulations. There's more than one motel with the name and they went to the far one instead of the near one. Good morning, Catherine. Welcome. Glad you're here. So they were delayed probably by 40 minutes getting to their motel the night before. So they were a little tired yesterday. And I would say that most of us were tired yesterday. And when you put a bunch of tired people in one place and a circumstance kind of fraught with emotion, there tends to be some issues. So it didn't go terribly, but there were some things that, wouldn't it be lovely if we had a rewind on life? Wouldn't that be lovely? Because I'd go back and change a few things from yesterday. I'm sitting at the kitchen table before the bulk of the people get there and get asked a question out of seeming nowhere. Well, do you want to do X? And it so flabbergasted me. I was what I usually am, which is incredibly blunt, and I said no. And the person said, well, then you handle it, you take care of it, you blah, blah, blah. That wasn't what my no was intended for. And of course, we're going to have internet problems today. Just a hoot, right? You're homesick. Oh, dear. Oh, I'm so sorry, honey. That sucks. Yes, absolutely. All right, let's rev up the hands here. We're going to send Gwen some healing energy. COVID is going around again, folks. COVID is going around again. And so the Western contingent wore their masks in all airports and on all airplanes. So, yeah, nope, no time for COVID. Oh, that just is poopy. Well, hopefully you can set up a second Christmas, Grandma's Christmas. Yeah, that is not fun. Not fun at all. Well, and there's been several families that I've heard that COVID was going through, and actually it just went through the Western contingent, their family, and my brother-in-law, who had a heart transplant many years ago, was the only one in the family who didn't catch it. They worked really hard to make sure he didn't catch it, and he did not. And apparently at the hospital he works at, he's a nurse, a 39-year-old guy just died of the flu. He had no markers for having significant issues, didn't get a shot, and he died. It's like, wow, there's some not good stuff going around again. So definitely wash your hands lots, people. Wash your hands lots. Use your masks accordingly, etc. So sending Gwen good energy. Tons of good juju, girl. Hope you heal and feel better quickly. And then do second Christmas. Yeah. So, back to my story. So anyway, that led to a rift on the beginning. And throughout the course of the day, 3 different people ended up tapping. 2 did not come. 1 because a bout of depression happened. And yeah, so there was a fair amount of angst and difficulty going on amongst the group. I mean, you could still see the love, you could still see the effort, you could still see the trying to communicate, blah, blah, but there was some difficulty. So I went to our trusty Bible here, Bible for Communication, and found something that I thought might be helpful for us today. Because many of you are just heading into doing some Christmas stuff. We still have a couple of events left, but I think this is a useful piece and could be of assistance moving forward. So, it's on page 88 for those of you who have the book, and it's called Any Information is Important Information. So for instance, the first part of that story I told, if I had stepped back 1 step, I was feeling it. I was feeling that this person was already loaded for bear. Good morning, Megan. Glad you're here. Welcome. I could feel that, but I hadn't really articulated it clearly to my brain. Yes, we do teach what we need to learn. And my thing about teaching has always been, I might be 2 steps ahead. Here we go. Poor connection again. That is so funny. So we're a few steps ahead of those we're teaching. That's it. It's not like we're in some lofty position where we got this all figured out, blah, blah. Not at all. Not at all. We're walking the path with you. We might be a few steps ahead, throwing a few boulders out of the way, but we're teaching what we need to learn. Absolutely. And teaching is an amazing way to learn it. I'm actually talking to one of my accountability buddies today. He and I are going to go over some stuff we learned at Tony Robbins. Good morning, Maureen. Glad you're here. And because we want to drill it into our heads better and make it more useful to us, so talking to each other about it is a way we're going to do that. So, any information is important information. And I'm going to jump around a little bit, but there's a couple of basic points I think it's good to hit. Good morning, Janine. Glad you are here. Welcome. Any information is important information. When we ask non-defensive questions, we are, in essence, seeking to find out, what am I dealing with here? That right there, the sky's open, the sun's shone, the angels went, oh. I'm like, yes. I was trying to figure out, what am I dealing with here? And if I had been able to edit the no that flew out of my mouth and could have said, tell me why you're asking, I think we would have had a different conversation. But it caught me so off guard, the no just flew out and I was like, oh. So, and definitely today I need to reach out to this person and see what we can do to mend fences. But from observation, there would have been several pieces that would have been useful to me. But because I hadn't really articulated it clearly to my brain, she's stressed, she's under pressure, she's kind of tying herself in knots here. Because I hadn't said that to myself, I was reactive instead of responsive. So, what am I dealing with here? Regardless of the content of the person's response, we are receiving important information. First, we are learning what the other person is willing or not willing to tell us. We gain important information even if the person avoids giving us an honest answer by denying some covert message. So now here's some of the stories that we've heard about throughout the course of the book. So Sally and Marcus, they're the couple, yes, take the pause. Sally and Marcus are the couple that she drills him for, what are you feeling, what are you feeling, what are you feeling? And he gets sullen and withdrawn and doesn't give her an answer. When Sally asked Marcus if he was upset and he said no, he continued to display body language to the contrary by slouching, scowling, and staying in an obvious funk. Unfortunately, Sally dismissed his reply. Her most important piece of information at that moment was that Marcus was upset and for some reason was unwilling to admit it. Sally might instead have focused on the information she did receive as her starting place in dealing with the issue. She might have begun by asking herself, why would Marcus deny being upset? What is his purpose in refusing to talk? If you're in a calm enough spot and you can ask yourself those questions and give yourself valid answers, can you see how the whole thing will go differently? Yes, trying to reconnect, trying to reconnect, trying to reconnect. I think it's hilarious that this thing is trying to reconnect as we are all trying to reconnect. On we go. So, she might have asked him, are you saying you are not upset because you believe that nothing is wrong, or because for some reason you don't want to talk to me about it? And again, being able to do that in as neutral a way as possible. Had she asked herself or him such questions, she could have been on a path to genuine curiosity. Here we go, and here's the next piece. Here's Bonnie yesterday. Instead, Sally got bogged down in her own issues, needing to control whether Marcus talked or not, defending her own intelligence, and insisting she could tell when he was in a bad mood. While it can be hard not to get caught up like Sally did when someone we love is upset and won't talk to us, our traditional approaches make the problem worse rather than solve it. Blink, blink, blink. A sincere question can stimulate the person asking it to become more curious and open to new understanding. If the other person's answer substantiates our worst suspicions, we are still in a better position to respond. Even if the person continues to deny having a problem, that is crucial information. So, yes, I believe that by making open, curious questions the foundation of a conversation, we gain as much clarity as another is willing to offer before we respond with our own thoughts, feelings, and belief. Were we to ask someone like Marcus a question, I imagine we are trying to see the shape, size, and texture of the landscape of his position. Now, this person I was talking to, our landscapes are very different. They are very different. And to be able to see the other person's landscape is going to be really helpful. So she says, our position may look like Kansas with lots of flat land and rich soil. His may look like California with a different shape and more varied terrain. Whatever we learn gives us the basis for responding as accurately, realistically, and meaningfully as possible to that person's current state of being. So here's the mental preparation, and I'm going to give you my answers to these 4 questions in the situation from yesterday. Am I feeling sincere, calm, and relaxed? No. Have I given up the need to control how the other person answers? No. I wanted a clear answer, an answer that was understandable, not what would be that person's typical kind of answer. Clear to me. Clear to her, most definitely clear to her, not clear to me. Am I willing to hear the answer? I would say yes. Is my question curious, innocent, open, neutral, and inviting? And I have to say no because I didn't ask a question. I just flat out said no. Questions take us to new depths. Although I have focused here primarily on situations involving conflict because they are often of greatest concern to people, questions can be highly effective in almost any circumstance. Many of the conversations we pass over lightly have, beneath the surface, a wealth of information that is easy to access when both people feel open and cooperative. Even a few questions can bring us great benefit, whether we are at home planning to remodel the house or at work discussing approaches to marketing a new product. We can learn much more than we might imagine with people we know and love, by asking more questions in peaceful moments. So, I'm jumping ahead just a smidge to this other part. From what I have seen, most of us continue to swim around in our own reactions, reluctant to come up for breath long enough to find out what the other person actually means. Ding, 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 ding. Good morning, Diane. Glad you're here. Grab another drink here. So, on the front end of holiday events that you're going into, you might want to have a little coaching session with yourself where you say, what's my goal for this? What am I hoping to have come out of this? I want to remain calm. I want to give other people the benefit of the doubt. I want to practice my skills. I mean, at this point, guys, we've gone through this whole book, and now we're going back and revisiting chunks. I want to practice my skills that I've learned in terms of how to ask a question, how to make a statement, how to predict, if this happens, then this will happen. If that happens, then this will happen, in neutral ways. And I'm going to circle repeatedly that word neutral. Is it easy to accomplish that? No. Can we practice until we're much better at it? Yes. So in that circumstance yesterday, I could have sat there for a moment and said, what's my goal here? What's my goal here? My goal is to get us to the place where we could make a decision about the thing that had been raised to make a decision about. But I think what flabbergasted me the most was I had repeatedly asked for information that was necessary in my mind to be able to make that decision well. So when the "are you going to make this decision" came out of nowhere, seeming nowhere, I'm sure there was a perfect reason why it came out of that person at that time. But to me, it was seeming nowhere. That then led to the no. There, that just glitched again. And I didn't even offer my usual explanation. No, because blah, 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 blah. It was just no. Not helpful. Not helpful. And because the other person was already in a state of being that wasn't designed to foster communication, it devolved quickly. It devolved quickly. So, again, my piece, what I'm going to pull here is I don't want to be swimming around in my own reactions, reluctant to come up for breath long enough to find out what the other person actually means. I think even to have made a statement of, seems like you're pretty intense about this. Seems like you're pretty upset about this. Seems like you're wanting an answer right now. Could have led to, well, I mean, I can see this. Well, yes, we've been fighting around with this for how long? Let's just make a decision and get it over with. Because then I would have been able to say my statement, which was, in order to make this decision, I need X, Y, and Z information. Let it be. Let it be. Would that have led to more conflict? Perhaps. Perhaps, but it still would have felt better to me because it would be heading down a path where resolution could occur, right? So again, this book is such a font of wisdom and knowledge and new ways of being. And if you're going to be going into family situations, dig your book out, do a little review, see what you can come up with. You know, best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. That is helpful to you to know, both for yourself. How am I likely to respond when Uncle Lenny starts making his negative, crappy comments about women? You know, whatever. Have an opportunity ahead of time to do a little practice on how do I want to ask my questions? How do I want to make my statements? How do I want to come across in this circumstance that is different than what I've always done? Let's do something different. So I'll have a couple more opportunities because Carrie and her family are here for, they fly out Christmas Day. So we'll have more opportunities. We can practice this stuff. We can even have a conversation about what stuff we're practicing. Because I've talked to both my sisters about this book and how useful I've found it. So I can go. I'm hearkening back to my book now, and here's what I want to say about that. So I just want to wish you all good conversations, good conversations. And again, there's 8 of you on here now. Let's rev up our hands, and we're sending Gwen some good energy, that COVID exits her body quickly. She can have a lovely Christmas with grandkids despite needing to recover in the interim. Sending good juju. All right. Have an awesome Sunday, y'all. We'll see you again tomorrow. Remember, you're capable of far more than you think you are. Bye-bye.